Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, The Black Accountant. It's your boy Mo, and if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and let me know in the comments of any kind of content you want to see going forward. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about mentorship, um, because this is I like how I always explain my reason for doing the video beforehand, as if I can't just do the video. Um, but either way, this video is kind of more so about mentorship because it's something that I felt like I really didn't have back in school when I was still in college, and now in the workplace, especially when you go into like huge corporate environments, you realize the need for it and the necessity for it a little bit more, because while there are certain metrics and certain people that are placed to help you out, um, targeted mentorship and mentorship with somebody that really knows you or knows your background is much more important because it helps you really unlock your potential. So, um, I want to talk about it more so from the perspective of a black professional or a black person in general. So, when it comes to the black community overall, there tends to be this common issue of um, solos or siloed individuals, where you have a black professional or somebody that goes past and does tackle so many obstacles to get to where they want to get to, and once they get there they slam the door behind them instead of trying to open the door. And this is kind of hotly debated because there are organizations like NABA, which is the National Association of Black Accountants, and other such types of communities for networking and then pulling together with other black members of your community into whatever specific industry that you want to get into. But it seems to be more prevalent that once you're in these environments, when it comes to the black community, there is this sense of having to prove yourself even more so to black professionals than you would to your regular peers and regular people. So what I mean by that is, let's say I'm in a mentee mentor relationship, and I happen to have, a white mentor or somebody of any other ethnicity that doesn't happen to be black. They usually will give you advice based on whatever worked for them, and also try to kind of like figure you out, and then you kind of go from there, like, regular mentor mentee type relationship. But it misses the nuance of struggles or hardships that don't necessarily work for you. So let's say me as a black man, having a fro would already be an issue for me, whereas that person wouldn't really understand that coming from a difficult background of poverty is not gonna might not necessarily translate well in terms of like my mindset and how I think about things. Like when comes to objects, or when it comes to networking, my background, my religious background might also be an issue in terms of the fact that I don't drink, or that I don't do certain things and I don't feel comfortable in certain venues. These are types of things that would hold me back. Whereas somebody that usually comes from your own background could kind of tailor their advice more so to you when they're mentoring you, because they could tell you, hey, we have this commonality. This is how I managed to navigate this, or how I managed to go through these obstacles and come out the other side. Now, when it comes to black mentorship, a lot of times black mentors, like I had just stated, really tend to close the door behind them in the sense of you having to really prove yourself. Whereas in a regular community, you're already having to prove yourself 2 and 3 times over, because as a black professional, the assumption is always that you're stupid until proven otherwise. And, a lot of times people will hop into my comments or DM me on Instagram and tell me, hey, that's not true, X, Y, and Z. But, you're not going to come into my DMs and then tell me what my experience is, because it's my experience. These are the things that happen to me. And it seems to be this trend of not giving guidance, of not, it's like you're competing for the minority spot in anything, and then that you have to be a certain type of black person to get vouched for, where you need to give up either aspects of yourself or your culture, or you need to be exactly the way that specific professional or mentor wants you to be, or otherwise you won't get that help. Whereas in other situations, you see it with almost every other ethnicity, like these people pull each other up, help them up. So like, let's say I see you're missing qualities or things that are lacking that might not help you, like that what is the word? What am I looking to say right now? Let's say in a certain community, I find that you're coming in to be my mentee, and I find that you're missing certain characteristics or traits that would make you succeed at this company or in this industry. As a mentor, I believe it would be my place to tell you, hey, this is what you're missing, and objectively, these are the things you need to work on, and here's how to work on it. That's what I would call valid mentorship, because that's what you're doing. You're teaching somebody. Here are steps that you need to take. Here are actionable things that you need to do to get to this particular level. Versus what I typically find in a lot of Black circles is, if you're not already these things, I can't even work with you. I don't want to vouch for you. And you find yourself having to continue to have this struggle of trying to figure things out, trying to figure out how to navigate like these entire environments by yourself, until, through trial and error, you become that. But then it could have been mitigated. It could have been avoided had you already had that mentorship going in. I don't understand why it's such a problem for us to open the door, to help out, to kind of, train somebody to become something. Like, there's always this expectation from Black people who have made it of excellence right off the bat, instead of the assumption, like, or the fair chance given that, hey, you're new, you need to have the same amount of time and duration to learn something as others do. You can't always come in very prepped and very ready to every single thing, because if it's a new arena, that's what you are. You're a beginner. You don't know what you're doing. So wouldn't it make more sense for the person that's experienced to help you out by doing that? And when I say this, it doesn't mean that the mentor needs to be at your beck and call 24/7, needs to be all these different types of things. It just means to give a fair shot. It just means to be able to listen. And this is a quality I feel like many, many, many people are lacking these days, of listening to somebody's background, listening to somebody's story, and then determining a course of action from there. A lot of times also people tend to see themselves in you and then assume that you're the exact same way based off of only a few things that they've seen from you, whereas they really don't know you that well to make those determinations. You can't just assume that. It's the same way as a parent that sees himself in their child and assumes that, hey, I would have made this choice or I would have made this mistake. That person is not you. You know what I'm saying? And also, if that's how you feel in your mind and mentally thinking that, why don't you translate that into action or into verbiage so that that person can listen to it and hear it and be like, okay, well, that's not the way that I operate. Or listen to it and say, hey, that is the way that I operate, and that's something that I might have done. But now that you've told me that that's not viable or not something that I should be doing, then I can go around it and I could do something else. So overall, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm finding a huge lack of community, and it doesn't only happen within Black circles. It typically tends to happen also within Muslim professional circles and other such things, where it seems to be this frenzy of everybody's just kind of divided and doing their own thing. And then you have like these little in-group, out-groups within that sphere in itself. So let me know what your thoughts are on this topic below. I'd love to hear it, because this is a really interesting conversation to me. And well, actually, I don't even have any more to add to that. So yeah, if you have any comments or things you want to talk about regarding this topic, please leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.